Hey, what's up, everybody? The BC here, coming at you with another video about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table. So, without further ado, let's get to it because we got a lot to talk about. Once again, every day on the daily, we got a lot to talk about. There's some things I haven't gotten to yet that I still want to talk about. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But, other than that, let's talk about it, alright? Let's see here. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Alright. Let's take a look at what we got going on. It's fun to talk about this stuff because, there's just a lot of hurt feelings out there and all that. And it's just funny. So I think I'm going to begin today with Pam Bondi. So you got sworn in to be AG, Attorney General. And first act on duty for Pam Bondi, Attorney General, who she replaced Merrick Garland, who was trash anyways. Didn't do shit. And first act is to pause all federal funding for sanctuary cities. Man, it's like it's like you're trying to get rodents to come out, right? And they don't come out, so you smoke the place. So you stick a smoke, and then you smoke them out, and they all come out running. I'm just referring to rodents. I'm not referring to anything else. I know what you're saying, thinking here, but that's what that is right there. So the rodents in this case would be the politicians, and smoke them out, right? Because that way they can't rely on federal funding to do anything. All right, especially funding for illegals. And if they don't have no federal funding to help fund for their respective cities, they're going to be a whole lot of pain and trouble to be able to, run their daily operations for
What
those
exciting
cities.
benefits do you get as a Hertz Gold Plus Rewards member?
You get to skip the line and go right to your car.
So let's take a look.
Yeah, GoDaddy Arrow is so easy. AI built me a website.
I do solemnly swear
I, Pamela Bondi, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas there. That's first act. Pause federal funding to sanctuary cities. She jumped on the horse and started running right away, just like Trump did. One of her orders include fighting the weaponization of the legal system, kind of like what they did with the DOJ, the Biden's administration did with DOJ. And you saw the weaponization of the legal system, right? All those, you could say, DAs that sued Donald Trump for some frivolous stuff, whether it was Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, both from New York, the what do you call it, the DA from Georgia, I think it was Fannie Willis, I think it was her, the Jack dude from Florida. They were all trying to go after him. They were all trying to get him prosecuted and persecuted so he couldn't go to office. They were trying to get him locked up, which it was so obvious it was a weaponization of the legal system, Department of Justice and all that. And so this is where she comes in. She's going to clean up all that crap. And she's encouraging to seek the death penalty. Yeah, it's too much soft on crime shit. Eliminate cartels, transnational criminal organizations. That was so slanted and one-sided, the way the Biden government administration was. It's definitely a breath of fresh air for all these people that come in and kind of clean things up. The group will first investigate the prosecutions against U.S. President Donald Trump. Heck yeah, they gotta really look into all that. There it is, Jack Smith, special counsel, Alvin Bragg, and Letitia J. Yeah, go after all those people. They definitely were weaponizing the justice system to try to go after Trump. And it was so frivolous and obvious. They'll look into the January 6th riots, okay? This is the 2020 riots, by the way. Look into the Justice Department targeting parents at school board meetings and use of the Freedom of Access to the Clinic Interests Act, okay? They'll also identify and access and assess all funds for non-governmental organizations that have supported illegal aliens. Yeah, these NGOs on the surface have good intentions, but at the same time, you are helping illegals. So I can understand if you're helping like refugees or legal migrants, but if they're illegal, how's that really help the cause, except you're worsening the cause, because now you've become that organization, doesn't matter which non-governmental organization, but you've become kind of like that facilitator to come to and be like, hey, I want some help too, come help me out. And so you kind of put a target on yourself for all these illegals that come to get help and everything. And if you remove the federal funding from these NGOs, how many of these NGOs fall apart, right? It'll be interesting to see.
Thank you, President Trump. I've known you for many, many years, and I will not let you down. I am truly honored.
Jeff?
The president,
can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would
is,
have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
you'll be able to review
Listen,
hundreds
I'm
of
not going to
cases on the first day?
mislead this body, nor you.
All right, let me ask another question. You don't want to answer that. Let me ask
You were
another question.
censured by
It will
Congress,
also-
Senator, for
it will
comments just
also-
like this that
it
are
will
so
also,
I like the cut of her. Jeb Army, what sort of
That
an
is just a
Attorney General
dickhead.
will Pam Bondi be?
He needs to get his ass beat.
First of all, great to see you again, Rita. And her child. First of all, vote for her. And I appreciate that. In recent history, maybe ever, I think she's going to bring law and order back to that office. I'm looking forward to that. General.
Are necessary to
All right, so we know there, all right? Let me look at this real quick. Take a look at this right
Why
here.
are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously, why are you not investing into one of the...
Washington now, and Pam Bondi sworn in today as Attorney General.
All right, one of her first directives ordering the Justice Department to pause funding for sanctuary cities, a list which, of course, includes New York City. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso live in Midtown with what this could mean for New York. Jessica.
Stephen, Natasha, that's right. She is not wasting any time and has put out a memo which essentially says that sanctuary cities and states that do not cooperate and interfere with enforcement operations will not be getting any federal funding. As you just said, New York City is a sanctuary city and it does not cooperate with ICE in deportation proceedings. Now, take a look. This is the 3-page memo. It says state and local actors may not impede, obstruct, or otherwise fail to comply with lawful immigration-related directives. Bondi has also directed a 60-day pause on distribution of funds as they identify and evaluate all funding agreements with non-governmental organizations that provide support to, quote, illegal aliens. According to the think tank Center for Immigration Studies, in 2023, the DOJ provided $1.56 billion in funding to sanctuary cities. The U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, a not-for-profit international organization dedicated to addressing the needs and rights of refugees and immigrants, says such actions could disrupt critical programs funded by federal dollars, including public safety initiatives, disaster relief, housing support, and healthcare services.
Oh, yeah, it's easy. All you got to do is just don't fund illegals, right? And focus on these very things, and then you'll get your federal funding. It's so easy.
Cuts are not just an attack on immigrants, they are an assault on the well-being.
It's illegal immigrants, all right? Don't get it twisted.
Of every resident in these cities. Here's Randy Zellen, former prosecutor.
It's not simply you're a sanctuary city, you get no money from mom and dad. What I understand it to mean is that if you are a sanctuary city, and from this point going forward, you do anything to obstruct or impair or impede the Trump administration's efforts to enforce its immigration policies, if you get in the way of ICE, if you do anything to make it difficult for the administration, at that point, you will be subject to having your funding cut off.
It is unclear how this will affect New York City. We know the mayor has been speaking with ICE, and the NYPD has been assisting ICE with those migrants with a criminal record. We know Mayor Adams will be in D.C. tomorrow attending a national prayer breakfast where President Trump will also be in attendance. We have also learned the mayor will be testifying before the House Congressional Oversight Committee on Sanctuary Cities on March 5th. Now back to Bondi and her directives. She has set up a group, the so-called weaponization group, to investigate those who have investigated President Trump and have brought criminal and federal charges against the president. On that list, former special counsel Jack Smith, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, and New York State Attorney Letitia James. That's the latest we have from Midtown tonight. I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News. Steve, Natasha.
All right, thanks, Jessica.
Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. And you know that those very people did weaponize the government against Trump. It's very simple to see. Yeah, and meanwhile, protests continue to be going on, right, throughout parts of the United States on the daily. It's just funny how that is, huh? Protests going on. And funny stuff. You know, protests shut down, highways. They're still doing that. People are stupid. I mean, when you think about it, they're waving their little flags and everything and talking about pride and all that. And it's like, well, if you're so prideful, then go back to Mexico. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so easy, you know. And they talk about how bad things are here. Then if it's so bad for you, then go back to Mexico. Go back to where you came from if it's so bad. But obviously, it's not that bad for them to leave, you know. And they make all these arguments about, you know, oh, we're doing this for our parents that have been here and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, the problem is, if it's illegal, illegal is still illegal, right? That's the problem. More protests against Trump's immigration policies planned by LA students. 'Cause these kids are stupid, and I bet the teachers probably, and you know, I bet you the teachers push that agenda too, because LA, it's woke. All these coastal cities in California, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, they're all woke. So they're all woke, they're all blue. They probably encourage it because they're a bunch of dummies.
LAUSD students are planning to walk out of class today in protest of President Trump's immigration and deportation policies.
Superintendent Alberto Cavallo has also issued a warning about individuals posing as U.S. immigration enforcement agents. KTLA 5's Megan Tellis live now from Van Nuys with more details. Megan, good morning.
Yeah, Chris and May, good morning to you. With this rain today coming, I'm curious how big of a protest this might be. I'm going to step away here so you can see Van Nuys High School. It does open this morning at around 8:30, and the students begin to get to school, and parents are at student drop-off. We'll get a better idea as to how large of a protest this may be. Now, according to one Van Nuys student who reached out to us in regards to this protest, they say, quote, this walkout is to protest the immigration raids that ICE is conducting all around the valley. We are going to be walking from our school to Van Nuys City Hall. As a predominantly Hispanic community with many immigrant students, this is super important to us as we want to stand in solidarity with our peers. Now, take a look at this next element here. This is a flyer going around social media. It points to what Santa Monica High students are organizing. This is another school within LAUSD. This flyer reads, Samo High walkout against Trump. And participating students there are fighting for reproductive and LGBTQ rights, environmental protection and migrant rights, democracy. The flyer also indicates students from Malibu, Venice, University, Culver City will be joining this walkout today.
Standing
now,
up
the
for.
times
They're
of day
just
for the
doing it
students
just to get out of
involved
school.
across LAUSD seem to vary. Here at Van Nuys High School, the students involved plan to walk out during their designated study period. They call this flex time. Santa Monica High students reportedly walking out at noon today. We mentioned what the superintendent Carvalho had to say. He says we're aware of reports that individuals alleging to be law enforcement or ICE agents have approached some in our community. This has the effect of generating fear within our communities. Please be advised that falsely impersonating.
And it's funny too is, and then the schools are crying that, because for every student that's in the classroom, that they get paid, federal funding, right, for the Department of Education, and that's what helps for the schools and all that. So for every student that's not in school, they lose money. So that's why, when it comes to schools and all that, they want to try to keep schools intact, classrooms intact as best as possible. But then if they are encouraging this, you can't have it both ways, right? And then they're crying, oh, the kids are not in school and stuff. And it's like, well, look at it. You guys are encouraging this walkout and protest and all that because these are woke cities that would encourage this sort of bullshit. Right? These guys are a bunch of dummies. And when you look at school in general, these are indoctrination camps, all right? That's what school is. School is all about indoctrination, especially depending on what city you live in, right? If you live in a woke city, right, they're going to indoctrinate you into believing, about all these different sort of rights that you supposedly have, but then you don't really have because you shouldn't have. And all these different sort of fundamentals that are not really true fundamentals. Like, I could go on and on about this stuff. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're in a city that's not so woke, they teach you at least a little bit better in terms of they don't indoctrinate you into believing all this bullshit. Like, ICE is out to get everybody, right? No. ICE is only there to get illegals out. Not immigrants in general. Not legal migrants, illegal immigrants for the millionth time. And people don't get that shit. And they're not telling dumbass kids like this that too. Alright? All they're just doing is just telling them, go protest them and show them, the numbers that you stand by this. Right? Wave the flag, yeah. So wave the home country flag that you're from. So you're so proud of that country. Then why'd you guys leave that country in the first place for so-called better opportunity in the United States? Right? If you love it so much, then go back.
Impersonating a local, state, or federal agency or law enforcement official is illegal. And he goes on to say that he stands in solidarity with the students. We'll have more on that coming up.
Fascism was more like what the Biden government was. All they were about was control. They controlled the media. They controlled aspects of your life, wear a mask, stay home from school because, COVID crisis and stuff, right? They were all about complete control of everything. And then once all that stuff was opened up, you started to see that, oh shit, that fascist government of Biden was all full of shit.
Next. But again, these walkouts seem to be happening all across LAUSD and other schools. I'm hearing reports in the IE, this also happening, whether it be today or tomorrow. But students seem to be voicing their rights. And again, as students begin to arrive to school and parents as well, we will talk to them to see what is on their minds on this Thursday. That is the very latest in Van Nuys. I'm Megan Tellis. I'll send it back to you, two in Hollywood.
Global superstar, The Weeknd, presents a never-before-seen all-new show, After Hours.
Yeah, so, full of shit. All right. It's just crap. People they don't even know why they're protesting. They're just protesting because Trump is red man or is orange man, all right? Trump is orange man. He's so bad, right? And he's going after all immigrants, right? No, because that's not what's happening, you dummies. Now, you guys are a bunch of rubes. And it's just stupid, Just Democrats are mad because they're getting smoked out to dry, you know what I'm saying? Like USAID got closed down because you started seeing that it was a money funneling business entity for Democrats, right? 97% of USAID funds were claimed by Democrats. So when you looked at that, that's just crazy when you think about that, And when you looked at some of the things that they were using it for, it was allegedly, it was ill-advised, used in ways that was completely wrong, right? Like all the different transgender and trans this, trans that in other countries. Like they were trying to push this agenda in other countries. And to me, I don't think they really pushed it. I think they just kept the money. They just kicked back to whoever made the claim in that country. Hey, I'll give you a piece of this if you kick the rest of it back to me, and we'll call it even, right? And that's what they did. They just did it to make it look like they're doing something, but they really didn't, to take the money is what it is. And Democrats are corrupt for doing that for all these years. And you could go to look at all this other stuff. Speaking of which, like the high-speed rail that is a train to nowhere, right? Everything. So it's just funny how that is. And then when you look at what we got going on, it's just crazy, is all I got to say. High-speed rail, I'm going to save that for another video, though. I think I'm going to save that for another video. This whole Kamala situation, the unedited stuff, the Joe Rogan stuff, I'm going to save that for a different video as well. That's like 2 videos right there that I wanted to share with you guys on my thoughts on all that stuff. But the biggest thing is that the funding is being cut for the sanctuary cities. And when you look at that, the protesting is ongoing, and a lot of these things, they don't even know what they're protesting for. They're just protesting, I think, because they're just being told to, because that's just what is simply what it is. You know what? And then let's just throw this in it. Let me see if I can find it. I guess in terms of the protesting, the government, the Democrats are encouraging
remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk and ticketing, smart automation.
Now it's time for lefties losing it.
They're even the Democrats, right? The lefties is what they're referred to as. They are encouraging protests and all that because Everything about them is being shut down.
We are blessed to have networks like MSNBC staffed by certifiable morons and pathological liars because they make my job just so easy. I just have to watch a few minutes and the lefties losing at content flows like the Mississippi in spring. Here is Joy Reid being a hysterical banshee and using words she doesn't seem to understand, like coup.
We begin tonight with a full-on crisis in our democracy, as federal workers are literally locked out of their offices while operatives working for a private citizen essentially take over our government. If this were happening in any other country right now, I promise you, I'd be on the air calling it a coup.
And Joy Reid, along with suffering from a severe case of stage 4 TDS, that's Trump derangement syndrome, she's also an election denier. And according to the left, that makes her a threat to democracy.
They're even talking about like stealing an election. And it's making me rethink whether I do believe like election machines can be hacked. Because I've always been like, you can't hack the election machines, but they're like convincing me, I don't know, maybe you can. I don't know.
I mean, to me in this world, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
I'm still, I mean, there are all these conspiracy theories out there about Trump and whether or not they cheated. I know you say that they didn't, but I know you kind of have
Wait a minute, I didn't say they didn't.
I don't know about you, but I'm shaking with fear with this dangerous democracy denial.
Elon Musk, you know, somehow using his tech connections, because I don't want to say genius because we know he's not.
Yeah, he ain't a genius.
But those relationships or whatever.
It's funny how they deny Elon Musk being a genius, but you got to be a genius to be able to invent things. You can't just be stupid to invent things. And if you're able to invent things that are of life-changing things in general, I mean, that's pretty smart to me to be able to do that sort of thing. To be able to run a multi-billion-dollar businesses, right, and be successful, you can't be stupid. So it's funny how they try to deny how smart Elon Musk really is. He's kind of like what a lot of people would say. He's kind of like the Tony Stark of real life, right? Tony Stark's just a character in the comics, but you know, Iron Man. But he's kind of like the Tony Stark of our time, of real life, right? You know, inventing these things and electric cars, a rocket that could go shoot up and then land in its place, right? Isn't that crazy? You know, he's trying to, you know, have space programs going again. He's trying to do all kinds of stuff. Not only that, but still try to streamline government spending. I don't see anything wrong with that. I just think that they're envious and they're jealous because if Elon Musk remained a Democrat, this wouldn't be a subject matter right now. They wouldn't even be talking about it. They wouldn't talk about how stupid he is or how he's taking over the government and all this other bullshit conspiracies that they're trying to say.
Because they just seem too confident. It just doesn't add up to me with all this.
But meanwhile, yeah, Biden running this sort of administration for the last 4 years, and it makes you wonder a lot of things of what was going on behind the scenes. If he wasn't coherent, he wasn't really doing anything to really run the government. He had his nap times. He had all this stuff going on. And it makes you wonder who was really running the government that was never revealed, right? His handlers? Was it Obama? You know, was it... Definitely wasn't Kamala because there was a lot of dumb decision making coming from her. Can't be Kamala. Was it Chuck Schumer? Was it Pelosi? Right? All these people, you know, running this sort of shadow government under Biden's nose because all he was doing was just being a Weekend at Bernie's front man. That's the question there. Only because Democrats are being smoked out to dry with all their wasteful spending and corrupted, pocketed government money that they were doing and taking. They're all just jealous now. They're all upset because now their slush funds are going to be dry, is what it is.
Support that she had, and I know that for you and because of what happened with Fox and because what you do professionally with the network, you can't say it was the machines or something like that. But if you think it was the machines, but you can't say, just don't say anything. See, this is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is
no, I know.
There are many ways to cheat in an election. And I don't ever put it past Republicans to cheat in elections because they've been busted too many times.
Let's hear now from a couple of women who are likely to be MSNBC viewers. Why do I say that? Because they are uninformed, unhappy, and a little unhinged.
I took my kids to school today and just dropped them off, and I just feel so sad, right? Like, we all knew this was coming, and then I think that yesterday was far worse than any of us could have anticipated. And I took the day off to just kind of protect my peace, and I plugged back in this morning, and it's just so bad.
And here is a lady who is very forthright in her opinions, except when faced with a fairly obvious but inconvenient question.
Stop abuse of power.
Yes.
In what regard?
Well, with everything that's happening in our politics, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Like with Trump?
Yes. It seems that money goes a long way right now with our politicians, and that needs to stop.
So would you say it was an abuse of power how they just removed Joe Biden out the Democratic primary and installed Kamala Harris?
You know, I don't know that I can comment on it.
Now let's go to CNN, where even their overwhelmingly left-leaning panel and hosts are left laughing at just how...
See, when you get confronted with those kind of questions, they can't answer those questions, right? That's how stupid people are.
Crazy the Democrats sound this week.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses.
We have days to stop the destruction of our democracy. We have work to do. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money. We don't pledge allegiance to the...
He's not taking the money. He's just cutting their wasteful money, their wasteful spending. That's the thing. They're being exposed for who they really are, and they're just mad about it because they got exposed.
Be 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And goddamn it, shut down the city! We are at war!
We will win! We will win! We will win! We won't rest! We won't rest!
And then coming from someone that didn't know how to cook a burger, right? He put a picture on Instagram showing that he's trying to be like that American dad, you know, cooking burgers on 4th of July, but yet the burger was raw and he put cheese on it.
Gretchen.
Yes, the Democrats need a real leader, okay? They need a real leader,
Exactly.
which currently does not exist in the Democratic Party.
They don't
Trump
got no
has said
leaders.
all of these things were going to happen. We saw him align with Elon Musk, which may go down as the smartest thing that any presidential candidate has ever done.
Now to possibly the most irritating woman you'll hear from all week, and that includes the ladies of The View and MSNBC's nightly lineup. This is the definition of educated but dumb, privileged but pitiful.
Ways that Middlebury fails its students make this sobering truth abundantly clear. This is heartbreaking. If there's anything you hear of what I'm saying, let it be this. When our hearts break, let them break open like pomegranates and burst with seeds that can take root. We are literally graduating the same month a fascist has taken office. Within 11 days, he has pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement for the second time, denied the existence of trans people, and unleashed a slew of ICE agents to arrest an average of 1,000 people every single day since they began.
Yes, don't you just love the way she talks? It's so effective. That Paul Simpleton is wearing both a keffiyeh and a rainbow scarf. May I suggest not trying that sort of thing in Gaza, lest you be thrown off whatever tall structure remains. Now, this privileged nincompoop mentioned her college, Middlebury. This is a college that charges tuition of more than $67,000 per annum US, and the housing and meal plan costs another $19,000 plus. So almost $90,000 US per annum to produce hysterical idiots like this.
Such as the airstrike on the Al-Shifa ambulance and the flour massacre, where Gazans ran to aid trucks so they could make bread, and Israeli soldiers gunned them down. And most importantly, smiling from ear.
That's the problem with college too. Is college is a scam. You saw the money, right? It's a scam, and it's an indoctrination, extended indoctrination camp. And all it does is just try to instill values that are truly not true American values. They're just trying to progressively teach you these ideas and fundamentals that shouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, I guess you could say for transgender, you could be what you want to be. I mean, if you are a guy, you want to dress as a girl, that's fine. You could be a cross-dresser. But to make it a whole new race and sort of thing like that, I don't know about that, you know? To make it a whole different, like, gender. I mean, either born a male or female, right? You only have two parts. There's no, like, third part. You know what I'm saying? You got a penis, you got a vagina. But if you want to cross-dress, I mean, that's really up to you. You could cross-dress, but there's no third gender, right? That's the whole thing about it. And that's true, though. You wear this stuff in places, traditional countries like Gaza and all that, they wouldn't deal with this right here. They'll throw you out, right? So, these sort of things. You have terrorists running Gaza, which is Hamas, right? Palestine. Hamas running Palestine. Until they get rooted out, it's a terrorist country right now. So, yeah, Palestinians are caught in the crossfire, but the only way to root out terrorism is to get rid of Hamas. So, in order to get rid of Hamas, you really got to go in there and just get rid of them, smoke them out. Until in the meantime, I know that Palestinians are innocent and all that stuff. They're a minority to, Israelis. But at the same time, if we need to get to the bottom of rooting out terrorism, we got to get rid of Hamas. So I'd say you got to let Israel do its thing.
Ear to ear with a bunch of kids at the beauty of the sun setting over the horizon of their displacement camp. I have immense resources at this school, and I use them.
With weight loss by Hims, customers report losing over 11 pounds in just their first...
Yeah. Don't give a fuck about your resources. And then once you graduate, you're just a nobody, right? Once you graduate, you're at the bottom of the totem pole once again as a nobody. You're nothing, right? And then what? You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with Democrats right now. Going back to all this, is that the Democrats are getting laughed at because they got no leaders, right? Kamala was not a leader. She proved that. And everybody exposed her for not being a leader. And then new evidence suggests now that she couldn't even be a leader. Imagine where our country was standing right now if she got voted in and won as president. Where this country would stand right now, being her running this country right now. You know how bad things would be right now? An extension of what Biden's been doing, but possibly worse. Man, that's just crazy to just wrap your head around right now how bad things would be. And you think things are bad right now just because, oh man, illegals are getting rounded up. Oh my gosh, right? Look at Aurora, Colorado there. ICE raids target those very same apartments that gangs were taking over, those apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, getting rounded up and taken out. Man, that's so bad, right? And sanctuary cities funding the sanctuary cities, they're getting cut. Oh man, it's so bad. Man, imagine the other way around with Kamala. And I'm exaggerating. I'm just sarcastic if you don't catch my drift. Anyhow, that's the latest on everything. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Subscribe. And join me. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. Other than that, share with me your thoughts. We got a lot more to talk about on the daily. Anything and everything. Thanks. I'll see you in the next one.